Let me circle back to crypto, which is kind of related to all of these questions, because there are people in it because their case is, we're going to see dollar debasement and all of these different things. And I think increasingly are people in it after hearing what you and Stan Druckenmiller said last fall and realizing the institutional interest is just going to keep growing and growing, and they just figure they'll ride that wave. Bitcoin is now up, I think, when we spoke, I want to say it was around 14, so it's up about 4 times since we spoke in value. How much more upside is there? Even if you think there's upside, is there a lot more upside, do you think?
It's too bad we had video difficulties because I was going to have my Bitcoin hat on when you answered that. My baseball cap. Bitcoin, there are many, many different ways to look at Bitcoin. The simplest one is just supply and demand. You mentioned the mainstreaming of it and the institutional acceptance of it. And I think, supply is growing 2% a year. And demand is growing faster. That's all you really need to know, and that means it's going higher. So I think that it's going to have these kinds of volatile days. It was down 20% peak to trough over the weekend. But back in 2017, which was a bubble, I don't think this is a bubble at all in Bitcoin. I think this is now the beginning of a mainstreaming of it. But even back then during the bubble, it went down 20% on 5 different occasions. So volatility is with Bitcoin. Volatility is the price you pay for performance, and I think that I think it's like digital gold. That's the first stop in it. And gold is about a $10 trillion asset category, and Bitcoin's $1 trillion, and it's infinitely divisible, or almost so. It's easily transportable and can be sent anywhere in the world if you have a smartphone. So it is a much better version as a store of value than gold. And then there's $15 trillion of negative yielding bonds out there. Why would you have that when you could own something that at least has the potential to go up?
Mm-hmm. And do all of these arguments then extend to other cryptos? A lot of people are now, I look at whether it's videos on social media or you name it. I mean, there's this constant interest in chasing the next big crypto performer, and a lot of them are up even more, way more in some cases than Bitcoin. Do you dabble in any of those, or do you just stick with Bitcoin?
No, I don't fiddle around with any of those others. There's a lot of good theoretical work done on lock-in and path dependence in technologies. Brian Arthur at Stanford is one of the leaders in that area. He's also written another book called The Nature of Technology. But effectively, when you have a technology like Bitcoin, what happens is that there's a explosion of new technologies that come along with it. So now we have about 8 or 10,000 of these ICOs. But eventually those things lock in, and there's a dominant company, or a dominant entity, and that's why the antitrust people are going after Amazon and Google and Facebook, and because those companies are so dominant, and I think Bitcoin will be the dominant technology in this emerging asset category.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.